I've discovered that all conflict that people are going through is a trigger in their own body. There is nothing other than a trigger in their own body. And when you see a person that's going, it's just so annoying that these people, blah, blah, blah. It's just so annoying that that political party, blah, blah, blah. It's so annoying that we, the whole economy could crash or the lockdowns are happening. And once I explore deeper, we find the reason they feel that way. And it always, always, always has nothing to do with the circumstance. It has to do with a buried, unseen pattern inside of their own body. Welcome to Exploring Oneness, a name that I'm still playing with, a name that is the closest to what I think is true right now. I'm in the middle of exploring oneness myself, and I think exploring is a big word because I don't want to come across as if like I'm in some massive oneness place and I know all that is. I'm in a place where I'm exploring it, where I'm getting glimpses of some higher truth and wanting to. After I said that, I watched two participants leave. Oh, he's not going to have it perfect. Okay, I'm out. No, I think that it's really, really, really important to stay in a place of like, at the most I can, humility. And I think that all of us being in a place of, I don't quite know everything that's going on, gives you so much more room for information. Like it's always going to make you a better teacher to live as the student, to be a student of life, to be a student of new information, no matter how much you think you got it all down, to be open to the idea that you don't have it all down at all. You get what I'm saying? Like to that there's so much more to learn. And can you stay in a constant state of there's so much more to learn? And just be wide open to there's so much more to learn. I'm never there and I'm always there. But undo the idea that there's a future goal. I'm never there and I'm always there. Undo the idea of timelines, undo the idea of future, undo the idea of potential, and be okay with where you are now and aware that there's always more that's not even that you need to get to, but that's happening. Can you look at life like you're looking in a room and there's more happening than you understand? To prepare for this, I'm starting to really meditate a lot. And part of the reason that I feel called to move into this topic is because the first thing that I think we have to acknowledge for 2021, at least I do, and I don't know if this resonates with you, is the ways that I've done things in the past seem to no longer work. Like it just doesn't work anymore to use a certain type of motivation, ambition, that we are completely stuck to our circumstances, that it doesn't serve me to be caught too much in what's going on in some circumstantial thing, or to keep my little kid's fixer alive. I have a fixer in my body, and the fixer shows up usually when a circumstance is off and wants someone to understand who I really am, or wants to be seen in a certain way. And one of the things that came up for me when I was talking to the guy that I work with named Nick was the idea that if I fix something, I fix my story, but that's not who I am. So in fixing my story, I keep myself alive at the story. And when you look at this world right now and how chaotic it is and how much it puts you in a situation of more and more what I thought was true is not true. And the things that I thought were true really were needed at one point in my life. But thank God life is so amazing that it says, yeah, you did need that for that point in your life. And if you just keep using that in the later points in your life, you stop growing. And I look at like a rocket that takes off and gets into space, and then it needs this bottom part of the rocket to get to space. And then when it gets there, it releases that thing. It's like, I need this part of the rocket to get somewhere. And then once I get there, I have to let go of the thing that I needed to get here. And there's a lot of things in this 2021 time that we have to let go of. There's a rocket that propelled you to here. And what if that part of the bottom of the rocket now is in the way of the truth of what you are, but you needed it before? So when I look at 2021 for myself, I go, man, like little patterns of a little too much internet, little patterns of a little too much needing to be seen by the external, little patterns of being caught in politics, little patterns of, they're not only things that no longer serve me, but they keep my smaller story alive. And they keep something alive that isn't me. And as much as we all know there's an aspect of potentiality for us and there's a place of oneness for us, if I'm not doing the work, if we're not exploring something beyond that story, it's kind of the same as someone who knows that they could be fit but never goes to the gym. Your pain is your knowing your potential while not living it. Your pain is that's really the pain. Your pain is that you're now becoming so aware. And if you move out of alignment with what you know, you're going to suffer. And not everyone knows what you know. So they might not suffer as much, because if you have this awareness of the world that could exist in your life, what you are, if you have this awareness of this magic that's here, and you continue to do things to keep the smaller you alive. Like if a caterpillar living in its highest is fine, but if a caterpillar knows at the highest level that it's a butterfly and keeps living as a caterpillar, it's going to suffer. So the caterpillar probably lives the caterpillar journey and lives it full out, and then at one point has the higher calling, goes into the cocoon and changes. What if the caterpillar knew about the cocoon, knew about the butterfly life, but still really was like, yeah, but I have all these friends I connect with that are caterpillars. I eat caterpillar food. And I really love this caterpillar restaurant. And I love this, all of this stuff. And then I look at what the world's changing, and it's almost trying to take our caterpillar stuff away from us, right? It's trying to take restaurants from us. It's trying to take your ability to just grab onto any friend at any bar and have, conversations that are gossip level conversations. It's trying to ground us for a while, and it's asking us to go within. It's asking us to look at something, and it's almost saying, if you don't go within and you keep your addiction to the external world going, you're going to go down with it. So it's like you have to find the truth of what you are. And what if it's not that you're even letting go of what you were, but you're letting go of what you weren't and finally becoming what you really are? And what if what you are is all that is? And what if what you are is beyond the level of good or bad, high or low, black or white, different, separation, me versus you? What if what you are is this world? What if everything going on in this world right now is your thought? Play with that. And what if your little ambitious part of you that's trying to change circumstances is the illusion of the small stories thought, but not you? Can you play with that for a minute? What if all of this is your thought? What if I'm in your thought right now? What if I'm inside of your dream? And what if the people that you love and the people that you're angry at are all inside of your dream? And what if you're here to feel the oneness of all of that, the all-encompassing of all of that, and understand that the reason that we're all playing this role of against each other and fighting each other and needing to be seen is not to win over another side, but to understand all that is. Whether you agree or not with someone else's perspective, their perspective comes from somewhere. So we can grow so much understanding why someone else feels a certain way. It doesn't mean you have to agree with it. It doesn't mean that you have to say that's the truth. But I really believe the way that oneness looks at the world is it says your story and your story both come from something, even if they're completely opposite. Even if you're talking about someone full of hate or anger, it will help you so much to understand the pain and the fear and the patterns that they went through, right? To help you not be in constant hate of their hate, to walk through their heart, to be in a place where we find love and forgiveness for every single living being on this planet. Is that possible? And I find that the more I go into a space of oneness, the more that it brings all truths of everything up. It holds space for what one person feels in one side of something and what another person feels another side, and they both exist. And I believe understanding these are so important in this time. Like, you cannot know all of you if you don't see the other sides, if you don't get why someone feels that way. If you're in resistance to something outside of you, then you're just in a repression of yourself. And I've done this work for so long now, and I've worked with so many people. And one thing you've probably seen from many Wednesday night calls is that I've discovered that all conflict that people are going through is a trigger in their own body. There is nothing other than a trigger in their own body. And when you see a person that's going, it's just so annoying that these people, blah, blah, blah. It's just so annoying that that political party, blah, blah, blah. It's so annoying that we, the whole economy could crash or the lockdowns are happening. And once I explore deeper, we find the reason they feel that way. And it always, always, always has nothing to do with the circumstance. It has to do with a buried, unseen pattern inside of their own body. I'm yet to find it. Anyone that's willing, I'm yet to find it. It always is there. Everything. So what we are is this small story as an avoidance of all that we are. And because we're in our small story, we stay within the smallness of trauma from our childhood, right? And we stay within that boundary because we don't want to feel the trauma. So imagine you're here. It's weird because this is an analogy I had, but Rupert Spira said the same thing, but he's me, so I said it. No, imagine you're the small story, and then imagine there's trauma outside of that you're constantly avoiding through massive motivation, ambition, fixing, ego, making money, losing money, separation, whatever. All of these things are trying to keep yourself from feeling that trauma. So picture you think you're this, then you have trauma outside of that, but the truth of what you are is this. The trauma's inside you, not you're inside of the trauma. And the more that you do the exploring through meditation, I'm in a deep meditative state, and I'm adding a massive structured set hour every single day for the year. I'm alternate day fasting every other day. I have all my patterns come up because I want to eat as an escape, and I can't. I've literally gone every other day since the beginning of the year. I'm taking a piano lesson almost every single day and doing what I can to do what the greatest version of myself is and find my own resilience and not be caught in the small story's addiction to the external. The small story is addicted to the external. I gotta know what's going on over here. I'm so mad about what they think of me over here. I'm so mad about what they're saying. I'm so mad about my bank account. And what if all these things are the byproduct of you staying in the illusion of the small self, which is an illusion? Play with the idea. Even if you've lived it your whole life, it doesn't mean it's not an illusion. You're staying within the small boundaries of what you needed to do to not feel that trauma again. But what if you're finally going to become what you actually are? Like, play with that. And what if we really explore oneness together and find that your triggers about someone else, your desire for things to be different, your fixing, is all a symptom of the real problem, which is you think you are the separate self. And the more we do this work, the more we get evidence of it. And the reason meditation can start out really painful is because it has to slowly show you that what you thought you were was a lie. Meditation has to show you right off the bat. It has to actually start. It doesn't even need to show you. It just starts pushing it out. So you feel this pain. It feels like death because meditation is getting rid of you. It's getting rid of what you thought you were. It's getting rid of what you thought you were. And that's way harder than, but actually I'm going to say that again. It's very easy, but it's more painful than someone who's just transcending an alcohol addiction or a heroin addiction, because even though those are major chemical dependencies, That's not the identity nearly as much as literally everything you've ever known. Like you might think on one level I was an alcoholic and now I'm stopping it, but on another level to go, I was Kyle Cease, the separate self who was a stand-up comedian and then a transformational speaker. I have this type of relationship. I have these eating habits. I have this thing. I have this thing. I have this thing. And you're this person and you're this ethnicity and you're this story and you're this financial thing, right? That is not true. It's more and more as I meditate, it holds space for all that is. And it holds space for what every human being is feeling. And it holds space for the pain that's being suffered by people in other countries. It's holding space for the pain that people, that are underdogs in the world are going through. But it also holds space for the pain in people that are not considered underdogs. I feel the same empathy for a very successful person or people that have a lot of power. I feel a lot of empathy for everybody because suffering is suffering. And it exists, but it exists through our lens of our smallness. It exists through our separation. That's why it's there. And we have become this bizarre clusterfuck of people who grabbed each other. And you can't grab each other. You can a little bit, but you might notice it's breaking up. Remember the old days? Like it used to be one side and another side, but now there's subsides and smaller groups breaking into smaller groups, grabbing each other in smaller and smaller patches, right? Even your friends, like you break off with a friend, then you learn those two friends stop being friends. And then it's because we can't grab each other anymore. We have to finally be connected to what we are. We don't need to get our love only from approval from someone else and call it love. We don't need to get our love from a person that's moving the same way as your dad did. We got to find the truth of what we are and discover we can stop chasing what we think is love. When I work with people, they say, that person doesn't love me. No. They don't see you in the egoic way you want to be seen, or they're not meeting your pattern's love language. But that doesn't mean they don't love you, but also they have the right to not love you, right? They have the right to go. They have the right to not get it. They have the right to not hear your point. They have the right to be nosy. They have a right to not, they have a right to whatever because you're not them. And imagine the freedom you would have if you could release your attachment to what other people do and what other people see and what other people understand and what other people. I was talking to someone the other day and I had a really amazing time showing him that if he looked at what he believed politically, that it completely mirrors himself. And I'm starting to find this thing when people are caught up politically in something, how easy it is to make their life be how they see it. Like whether, I'm not getting into a side politically, but let's say you think CNN is a rigged media thing. How many times do you have a rigged story that overrides in your body your highest truth? Do you get what I'm saying? Like how many times have you like, I feel this, but the public would feel this, and inside your body that you don't listen to the truth of you, right? Because there's an image that you don't want to lose, or that there's a way that you don't want to see different things, right? That's what we're looking at right now. That there's a you that's absolutely here to hold all of this, right? So I know for me that I'm only able to be here for the highest version of me and bring that version of love in, right? And I feel for me, this is how I see it, that a byproduct of that is that the world does the same thing. The more I see me and not need someone to see me, the more that I put that pressure off and hit their triggers for them to see me, and the more their trigger wears off and they see themselves. Now, I'm not doing that intentionally. I'm not doing that to change that, but more and more I get evidence as I work on myself, the match to that happens, right? So this is so important that you feel that you get that I just can work on myself, and it's up to you to take what you want from this and see what aligns for you, because that's the world we live in right now. That's the now. Because the old kick-ass, make it happen can work for some people, but some people are tired, right? Some people are really tired of the way. Some people are tired of chasing money or fixing a thing or trying to keep a relationship that doesn't work going in a certain way. And if you're tired and sometimes want to give up, that's okay, right? If you're tired and you want to give up and surrender, that's okay, because some things are keeping your small story alive. Some things are keeping the not you alive. And habit keeps the not you alive. But what do you want? What do you want? And most people think, I want this to happen and people to have this. And what do you want inside? What do you want to feel inside? Because maybe you can bring that to the world much better if you look at not moving from your trigger and your fear and moving from you. So I was working with a client and he said one of the challenges he has is no one gets it. No one's getting this stuff politically. No one's getting that they could blah, blah, blah. And I noticed that when I heard him say that, it looked to me like he knows what they should get because he's had his own breakthroughs and his own awareness. Because the more you do this work, the more higher frequencies call to you. And so it almost looked to me like there's a portal opening up for him and he's supposed to go through it. But he's busy telling everyone else they should go through it and they can't see the portal, right? So if you're in a place where you're trying to get everyone else through the portal that only you see, you're going to be exhausted, right? And it's funny because I'm looking at him I could have got caught in his thing and been like, dude, you're not getting it. There's a portal. And I'm like, maybe I'm seeing a portal and I'm trying to get him to go through it, but he's bringing everyone else. And I said, what if everyone is exactly where they need to be for their own growth, for their own revelation? What if people you think don't get it are supposed to not get it because there's a bunch of lessons in that? What if darkness is okay? What if not understanding what's going on is okay? What if being lost is okay? What if people need to experience their own addiction at their own level for their own growth and maybe live their whole life that way? Why are we here to get everyone else to be something? I'm here to offer what I have, and I have to release my attachment to who gets it or who doesn't, right? I have to release my need for everyone to understand it, because an apple tree, as I've said before, doesn't go, how many apples am I going to sell? What if other people have how many? It's just like my job is to go, the guidance is here. I offer it. And one thing that I've heard in a teaching from the Law of One that has affected my entire life this year is the Law of One teaching said, we believe that if you help one, you help all. So I've lost the need for it to be everyone that gets it. It's my time. Is it in the intention of my growth and my offer as a support for other people that want it at the level of it's not depleting me? And being in service as much as I can over the need to get as many books sold, as many numbers as possible, as many followers. I'm here for my ascension, my truth, my me. And I'm wide open to what that is, right? And that's my offer to you today, is that we start a series of exploring oneness on Sundays and have little discussions like this. Because when I meditate, it brings up everything. And it brings up the fact that my trigger about the outside world, as true as it might be, as much as there's changes that need to happen, can those both coexist? I don't need to change them at the level of my fear. I need to become what I am and see what callings come through versus changing it at my fear. Do you see the difference, right? Changing it at my fear. If people don't get this, then no, that's a low feeling. That's a feeling of I'm enslaved to something that I don't understand. There's a me that has access to a world that I can't see right now when I'm in that fear. Right? And imagine if right now the universe is trying to get to you and show you something, and you can't see it because you're down here going, I got to make sure. That's fear. And here's the universe going, I got the next step for you, but this thing that you need to fix out of fear has to be transcended inside of you. And then we'll create a calling. We'll create a new space. We'll create more frequency for safer and better, right? So we say, whatever's coming up, what if what's coming up is coming up because it's inside you? And what if it's inside you because you've lived on a pattern that avoided it? And what if you've been sitting on top of a wall of trauma, and that if anything starts to expose it, it feels like you're being stabbed, right? And a lot of things can expose it. Not having that addiction when you need it, keeping that relationship going that you don't want, doing the thing like getting caught in something external. They're all here to keep you from exposing the pain that's inside, the shame, the guilt, the darkness that might seem really big, but it's just big because of how long we've avoided it. On the highest truth, you're only this moment. So if you're only this moment, the true you sees all that. And yeah, it might be some pain, but I have been crying an hour or two a day on average. I mean, and some days I'm a little not, but like I'm feeling emotions all the time right now. And part of the reason is I'm doing what I can to put myself in a frequency that would purge the not me. So lots of meditation, lots of space for possibility. And our job, I believe, my job, at least right now, let me phrase it that way, is to become the portal for my old story to fall. Become the portal for my old story to be loved. You're not the old story, you're the portal, right? You're the portal for that story. And this to me, I know there's been speakers that have talked about it, but this to me is the consciousness that I need to become for my help of ushering in a new world. Because there are aspects of the old world, both inside me and outside me, that no longer serve anything. There are aspects of the old world that are about control, that are about, domination, about winning, about better than, about get as much money as you can, about hoarding, right? And if we look at oneness, we start to realize even if you get millions in the bank or you get to where you want or you whatever, you still are feeling incomplete. Some of the highest suicides are people with a lot of money, right? Like, it's like, I got everything I wanted and it's not it. Can you be aware that anything you think on a circumstantial level, when I have that, I'll be happy, is a lie. You will get the thing and be happy for a few minutes. And then you just go, now what? Or you go, now if it's my happiness, I better not lose it. And all these things are chiseling at the story of you, but they don't affect the real you. The you that's here, that can be there for these childhood stories that hurt. The you that sees what they're feeling and goes, I'm suffering right now. I can feel the suffering, and it's absolutely where I'm supposed to be right now, because I'm suffering for a purpose. I'm suffering for a release, right? Sometimes the suffering comes up and then we go to an addiction and then we keep it there. And I promise you, that thing you're keeping there will come up eventually. And one of the things I believe 2021 is about is all that shit coming up, just all of it coming up and out, all of it. Your own shame, your own guilt, your own story, your own success. You're even bigger than the greatest success you've ever had. The idea that me in this moment is bigger than the New York Times bestseller or the Dolby Theater, screw that. None of that. Like, what I've done was not what I am. Right? And we can find so much more by exploring what we are. And one of the things I find when I work with a lot of people is they say, what do I do? Because they think their identity is what they do. And one of the things my meditation was showing me is the real direct way into healing is seeing. The more I meditate, the more it just shows me, but not with an action, right? It doesn't go, see this, that you got to do that. It goes, see this, that hurts because of this under here. That hurts because of mom here. That hurts because when you were 5 here. And the more you just understand, the pain comes from not understanding where it originated. That's it. Once you understand where it originated, you get more in alignment with the truth. Right? Oh, it hurts. I feel unseen here. That person never sees me. Oh, that's a pattern of when I was trying to show my mom something and then she didn't see me. Oh, she didn't see me because she went through her childhood. Now I feel the compassion for her. Oh, okay, I'm holding space for her and me now. Oh, okay, I get that being seen by her was just my childhood training because that was my survival. That was my food. That was the house that sheltered me. And I need to be seen, otherwise I'll die. Oh, that happened because at one point when I wasn't seen one time, she walked away and my dad spanked me way too hard. And that trauma in my 5-year-old body was too much for me to carry. So now if a person that I know doesn't see me and my body's scared, I'm going to be beaten. Do you get the patterns? This is all going on. That's all the thing. And then you don't need to do anything different. You just see that what you were doing from the small story was a lie. Right? It was, you didn't know the bigger story. And oneness knows the whole story. So the more we move into the now, the more we move into oneness, the more we move into a space of love, the more we can be there for the story. And we don't have to take swift actions out of a scared fix. Yeah, if you see someone on a train track and a train's coming, save their life. But how many things do we move as if they're life or death? Like you're getting audited by the IRS, or you know, like you're gonna get yelled at, or that person might reject you if you ask them out. Those are also life or death to the small story, right? Life or death. And it gets to everything. Oh, like when you're getting a speeding ticket, a cop, you see the lights on the cop and you literally go into a little bit of a fight or flight because a cop's gonna give you a $150 bill. Right? And it's life or death to you. Meanwhile, just don't buy beer for 2 weeks and you can pay it off, right? It's just like everything's fine. And the more that I do this work, the more I hear the highest truth that I have to embrace and live. And my pattern is usually to almost live it, but not quite. And that gap is where the pain is. And the highest says, everything's fine. Like if you ask God what's going on, is it everything's fine? Is that a denial of all the shit that's going on, that's chaos in the world? No, but it is saying the darkness that's going on is teaching lessons, is creating the counter to it. It's creating higher light. Every darkness has an equal amount of light that a lot of times you can't see. It's bringing up stuff. People that are in their darkness discover things about them. They bring higher levels to themselves. There's a better world there. So for me, where I am right now, I have to honor my highest truth, and you take whatever you want. If you believe it's not fine, follow that, because there might be a lesson for you, but it teaches me. My lesson is, I know if I'm asking God, I goes, oh, no, I'm in process. Everything's fine. This is life working itself out. And says, I want you to know everything's fine. And then there's a me that sometimes gets out of a meditation and goes, what about this? And it goes, no, you're not honoring what I said, right? You're not honoring everything. You're looking at a dead end thing, like something that could happen Friday, but you're not looking at the day after that. You're not looking at what'll happen a week after that or 5 years after that. And fine doesn't only mean that you'll survive. It means like even if you die, you're fine, right? And I'm not saying we aim for that, but I'm just saying oneness embraces death because death was a total part of life. We've just created horror movies and fear all the time that trained us that death isn't. It trained us that death is not a part of life, that our job is to resist it at every state, right? Now, I'm not saying aim for it, but the more we embrace death as a part of our life, the more we'll live and probably live longer. I noticed that we're either in a place of fully living our life or protecting a life we're not living, right? We had to get all the doors on and everyone, locks on the doors and everything, protect. Or I live fully and I embrace it and I still get a lock on the door, but my life isn't protecting a life so that I can just sit and watch, something that doesn't fulfill me. And if it fulfills you, do it. I'm not saying TV doesn't fulfill you. I still watch a ton of stuff. You get what I'm saying though? And asking yourself what yours is. What's your truth and what's your God say? So what I want to offer for the rest of this today, this is just kind of an intro talking about oneness. This is the beginning of an ongoing Sunday series. We're now 6 days a week with the Absolutely Everything Pass. We're doing a oneness talk on Sundays. We have the It's Totally Possible open mic on Mondays. We have the It's Totally Possible workshop on Tuesdays. We have the Kyle Wednesday night call. Thursday morning, Joey does breath work. Saturday morning, we have a watch party, and we're bringing new content into the AEP thing, and we're making an It's Totally Possible ongoing online streaming channel. So what I'd love to, and my team is just incredible and totally on board and making it just amazing. We're so excited about it. And you would think that adding more stuff would make us more overwhelmed. And I don't want to speak for the team, but what I'm finding is there's a little bit of an excitement about adding the more stuff that I think is waking us up. So it's actually creating more work, but more excitement. So we're not against ourselves as much. We're really in alignment. So sometimes more is better, because what matters is, does it drive your heart? Do you feel a passion about what you're doing? And our team feels a little more alive and a little more awake and a little more ready. So I just want to offer you that sometimes when your yeah but comes in, like that would be more work. It turns out that actually might heal the issue, because you might have been more against yourself vibrationally, right? So sometimes the yeah but goes away if it's your highest calling. Even if you have this thing to consider, that can fall off because your vibration goes to a place where the thing you were needing to consider dissolves, right? It's like not an issue now. Oh, I'd love to be in my highest, but I got to take time to be with my daughter. Oh, wait, when I'm in my highest, I weirdly have less addiction, so I have more time with my daughter. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, I love it, Russell. That's part of it. The only thing that feels off is a story. The only thing that feels off is a pattern. So what we're going to do is, in a couple minutes, we're going to start a meditation. And when we start it, we're going to have the chat turned off. So everyone take a deep breath and release it. And instead of you just hearing my content as your truth, I would love for you to join me in actually getting on the treadmill and doing the work yourself and finding your own truth. And whatever it is perfect. And I find whatever it is passing, right? If we can let a belief come and see it, and then in a second, let it go, right? Something's coming. This is the truth. Oh, this is supposed to go this way. And then that pass. Oh, maybe it was for you to move closer to what you truly are. And then it goes, okay, that was good. Right? So what's the universe want you to know today? So I offer you to open your heart and ask the now to download whatever it needs to, and not only try to find it mentally. I used this analogy last time, but when you're updating your iPhone, you see bars telling you that it's updating, but it doesn't tell you the specifics, and you don't need to know the specifics. And imagine updates are happening in your body beyond what you understand. So take a deep breath and release it. And let's see all the magic that happens if we, as a collective group, hold a 20-minute meditation together. And what does that do for the world? What does the world look like on the other side of it? So surrender, feel the appreciation from me for being here, and allow yourself to receive that you are here. Allow yourself to just know right now there's nothing to fix, but a lot to hear. Fall into the now, fall into yourself.